This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Welcome again, and we're together, Asians, Filipinos, Indonesians, Thais, and all of us in ASEAN with China and the North Asian countries, of course, Korea, Japan, in our weekly show and discussions, chronicling what is happening in this Asian century. And we'll start, as we often do, with people and places, people in Asia. And of course, we focus on Filipinos going all around Asia, and very frequently, Filipinos in China. And today we have two personalities that we feature in our people and places segment. First, of course, later on, you'll watch and listen to Spark Florin, who is a Filipino who has worked in Guangzhou in China for the past 13 years, and he has a message for the Filipino people. But before we go to Spark Florin, we go to this young fellow with us today, who brings down our average age here but quite significantly, with Ambassador, of course, Bert Encomienda, who is regular in our discussions here. What I mean is we have Mr. Vincent Cifra, political philosopher, graduate of the University of the Philippines, Santo Tomas, I'm sorry, and much admired by my son and his girlfriend, who was also in UST before. You were student council, I don't know what you call it, but you had a student body, which I'll ask you to explain in a while. Vince has been also an ardent supporter of President Duterte, and during the campaigns he was very active. And he has, I found him to be a discovery through this few months of discussions on Duterte and the national issues. And he also joined the 41st anniversary of Sino-Philippine relations at the Pamuning Bakery Cafe, where we had also Kit Tatad, Butch Valdez, George C., and many others discussing this new openings in our Sino-Philippine relations. So, Vince, tell us a bit more, tell the audience a bit more, tell Asia a bit more about yourself. First of all, you focused on Eastern philosophy in your studies. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, to be specific, my Chinese philosophical orientation was highlighted in my undergraduate studies. Now, in my master's degree, I shifted focus from East to West, from Chinese thinkers to a German thinker. So I shifted from China to Germany, actually, Friedrich Nietzsche. But going back, I was very interested with the society-centered way of philosophizing of the ancient Chinese sages. That's the reason why I was inclined to studying it, particularly Kongzi, Mengzi, Xunzi, up to Mao Zedong, actually. Well, particularly his Maoist dialectics In fact, it was my topic in my undergraduate thesis, trying to synthesize what is man by nature. Is he both? Is he good or evil, or both good and evil? Because Sun Tzu was the philosopher who said that man was by nature evil. Meng Tzu was the one who said that man was by nature good. And I wanted to make use of the principle of contradiction of Mao Zedong to unite the two. That actually man is both good and evil.
We'll have more of that in the next two segments, because Vince will be with us through the news analysis on Asian news and in the China-Philippine focus segment. But before we go to the other personality, Spark Florin, I think it was very interesting off the air when we were discussing, and Vince was explaining the distinctions he found in Eastern philosophy, Chinese and Indian and Greek philosophy, which is the foundation of Western perspectives. Quickly, very quickly.
Very quickly, I would just compare Chinese ideology or Chinese orientation of philosophizing with the Greek one. I would not consider in the comparison India, because their concern was of a higher world, of another world.
You were saying their concern is, who am I?
Who am I? The soul.
Who am I? Yeah.
The soul.
While
the other two were more grounded on the reality of man, but different concentrations. The Western is more materialistic, while the Eastern, represented by China, is more society-oriented.
Yeah, you were describing it as, where am I?
Yes, where am I?
Situated.
That's the question. Where am I situated? That's the reason why.
What about the Western? How would you describe that?
Well,
what can I get out of things?
The materialist benefits. That's the reason why they wanted to create distinctions after distinctions after distinctions. Logic, epistemic phraseology, they use these things that eventually contributed to the development of their idea of a dominant race over a dominated race, superior over inferior, which I think contributed a lot to the development of their ideas of militarism, for instance, and the very controversial manifest destiny. Even the age of colonialism. The more you get lands, the more you're powerful. The more you dominate, the more you're powerful. So that's the orientation.
Let's go to Ambassador, our most senior member of this discussion. You have any insight from what our youngest member explained to us?
Well, I liked what I was hearing, but my concern is bring it to the present, situation. Part of our history now, because I've always said that. The problem of our region is that we had our own sets of so many civilizations, well-developed civilizations, spiritually and as Vince said, but it was disrupted by foreign interventions.
The materialist perspective dominated, came over to dominate.
Yes. So I thought that, in a way, what's happening now in the region is very much influenced by this continuing, presence, of extra-regional influences. I think it's really time to go back to how we were before, philosophies of India and China, and see how we can once again work ourselves towards the future.
Well, we call this the Asian century, don't we? Not only us, but even the Westerners call it the Asian century. And they've been waiting for this. For the past millennia, you have Napoleon saying the sleeping dragon. You have all these descriptions of expectation of Asia rising. And this is not just China. India is a giant that will be very significant in this 100 years.
And Indonesia too.
And Indonesia, yes, we should not forget that. No? Okay, we'll have more of these discussion, but now let's go to China and a group of Filipinos there. We'll try to extend. We'll try to show the whole thing even if we have a break.
Mabuhay, ako po si Spark Florin. At ako po isang singer dito po sa China. Nakabase po ako ngayon sa Ganzhou City, part ng Jiangxi Province. 2003 ang una kong dito. Ngayon ay 2016 na, so mga parang kahapon lang. 13 years na pala, 13 years. Ang Spark Project ay ito isang initiative na sinimulan ko po para sa layuning makapagbigay ng inspirasyon sa kapwa, makapag-send ng positive messages. Kasi alam natin ngayon sa mundo ang mga news, kung mag-browse ka sa internet, talagang puro negative news. At ilan na lang ang mga good news. So through music, makapag-share man lang ako makapag-spark ng positive impact sa isipan, puso ng tao.
Mayroong higpit sa aming bayan, O Diyos, paglingap mo ang aming kailangan.
Sa kapos ng kahirapan,
O Diyos, kami kahabagan,
hangad namin ay kalayaan. Mga taong bigas!
Pagpalain mo ang aming bayan, iahon mo sa kahirapan, igayong mo may karangalan, O Diyos, kami pakinggan.
Sa pagpalain mga aming bayan, ang mga kasama ko po dyan ay mga volunteer musicians dito po sa Xiamen. At yun, at wala po itong walang commitment para kung sino lang po ang gusto sumama, sinong gustong sumali, may time na masumali, ay basta makapag-carry lang sila ng tune, okay na. Sige, pwede ka. Yun. Yung pong pagpalain mga aming bayan ay nakikita po na kasi naririnig po natin ng maraming mga political campaign jingles ay naglalaman po ng pagtataas ng isang tao, pagbagsak naman ng isang tao, isang kandidato. Kasi para siyang a song and a prayer amidst all this dirty politicking and mudslinging, di po ba? Kasi ganun talaga, marumi talaga ang politika sa atin. Ngayon, may-refresh ang utak ng tao na makarinig sila na, uy, meron din palang kanta na dapat ipanalangin ang ating bayan. Kasi ang pagiging pong makabayan ay hindi lamang po yung handa po tayong mamatay sa bayan, kundi din po handa po tayong magbigay ng oras at panahon para idulog po natin ang ating bayan sa panalangin.
Bigyan mo kami ng tapat na mamumuno.
Okay, so you were telling us about you heard this during the campaign for Duterte. They were actually campaigning for Duterte during the elections, and this was released. No?
Yeah, I heard of it, the Spark project, and there was a staff who was working for the Duterte campaign movement, although I'm not specifically sure to which group that staff member belonged. But the feedback was there were actually Chinese nationals
also supporting
the
Spark group.
The group. So the idea is they're not actually persecuted.
Yes.
So
they're definitely not. You know, look at them. They're working there. They're singing there.
They're happy.
They're happy.
They're gathering together.
They're gathering together.
Without fear.
So my error lang is I said Guangzhou, but it is Guangzhou. No? So anyway, I think our segment is over. No? So let's move on and stay on for our news analysis. Okay.